Breaking news, which Wisconsin lawmakers say they were on a suspected political assassin's hit list.
Plus, the legislature's powerful budget writing committee meets tomorrow, where they could be making cuts.
We continue to see some rain right now. We're going to see a lot more rain this week. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4. Well, breaking news, the man charged with shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers is said to have had a hit list that included Wisconsin lawmakers. U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and U.S. Representative Mark Pocan both confirmed their names were on that list.
Right now, 57-year-old Vance Belter is in custody and will remain so until his next hearing on June 27th. He's charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder. Law enforcement arrested Belter yesterday, concluding the largest manhunt in Minnesota state history. Court documents say he fatally shot Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband at their home. He also allegedly shot State Senator John Hoffman and his wife at their home. The acts of violence has left members of the Minnesota legislature reeling.
I just feel grief. I don't know. I miss Speaker Hortman. She was my seatmate, but she was also, more than that, my friend.
Senator Baldwin's office has provided a statement to News 3 Now on the inclusion of her name on the suspect's hit list. It reads in part, Senator Baldwin is grateful for law enforcement's swift action to keep the community safe and remains focused on the things that matter most here, honoring the legacy and life of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, praying for the other victims who are fighting for their lives, and condemning this abhorrent, senseless political violence.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Hope all of you dads out there had a nice Father's Day. The weather was so nice on Sunday, and now a little much-needed rain is falling, and no severe weather. That's good, Jacob.
Yeah, no severe weather right now. There was a warning out in Iowa, not too far from Wisconsin, but our region has not seen any severe weather today. But we continue to see some scattered showers, especially for areas west of Madison. And there is an isolated storm kind of just approaching Madison and has dissipated a little bit over the last hour. So may continue to dissipate, but likely going to still see some rain for some parts of Madison. But there is some heavier rain further southwest. You can see some lightning strikes with this one right now in the far southwestern portion of Wisconsin, and these may continue throughout the evening, but as a whole we're not going to see anything super widespread. However, later tonight we are going to see more consistent rain move into the area from the northwest. It will dissipate a little bit as it pushes towards the southeast across our area, but we're still going to see some rain. But the severe weather risk looks like it will mostly stay to the northwest of our area, up near La Crosse and even further northwest towards Minneapolis. But some rain is still possible tonight before it clears out by sunrise Tuesday, but we're going to see plenty more rain going forward. Now, looking at the temperatures right now, lower 80s for Madison and areas to the southeast, 70s for places to the west that those areas have seen a little bit more rain today. And for your evening forecast, when it's not raining, we actually may see a good amount of sunshine with some 80s and upper 70s as these storms, again, pretty isolated across the area right now. And then we'll see mild lows tonight with temperatures only dropping into the middle and upper 60s. So we're going to see very summer-like conditions with the temperatures, but also with the fact that we're going to see a good amount of rainfall, especially on Wednesday, where we have an alert day in the forecast, and I'll talk more about that coming up a bit later.
Got a call coming in at Abundant Life Christian Church for a shooter, just advising someone was shot.
Copy. Let's make this an active shooter incident.
I just heard sodding, and there was a teacher named Mrs. Slater, and she was screaming like, "Ah, my leg, help!"
It's sad, to be home and then somebody call you and say your kids schooling like down and shooting, and you didn't know where they are.
Today marks 6 months since a 15-year-old opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School, killing a classmate, a teacher, and ultimately herself. The shooting also left 6 others hurt, including a student who remains in the hospital in critical condition.
Officers arrived at Abundant Life just before 11 in the morning on December 16th. They discovered the shooting happened inside of a study hall classroom that was full of students. The shooter used a handgun and brought a second firearm with her.
Last month, Madison police arrested the shooter's father. Jeffrey Ruppnow is charged with 2 counts of intent to sell a dangerous weapon to a person under 18 and 1 count of contributing to a child's delinquency. Court records say Ruppnow gave his daughter access to numerous guns, all while aware of her ongoing mental health struggles. He's due back in court on July 24th.
Some more breaking news this afternoon. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul says he is joining a proposed $7.4 billion settlement against Purdue Pharma. The settlement is in response to the role that Purdue and its owners, the Sackler family, have played in creating and worsening the opioid crisis. As a result of the agreement, local governments in Wisconsin would receive as much as $80 million over the next 15 years.
We have new information about a death investigation in Dodge County. We now know the name of the man who died after falling off the side of a ledge this weekend. 21-year-old Felix Mata Eusebio of Mayville died at Ledge County Park at 12:30 Saturday. Dodge County Sheriff's deputies found him on the side of a ledge, suffering from a head injury. First responders performed CPR, but Eusebio died at the scene. Officers believe Eusebio was with 2 other people when he fell more than 40 feet from a rocky ledge. Deputies say alcohol was a factor, but the investigation is ongoing.
A Wisconsin dairy farmer is suing the Trump administration, claiming discrimination against white farmers. The conservative Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty filed a lawsuit against the USDA on behalf of Adam Faust. Back in 2021, Faust was among several farmers who successfully sued the Biden administration for race discrimination in the USDA's Farmer Loan Forgiveness Program. The new lawsuit alleges the government has continued diversity programs that began under the Biden administration. The Trump administration has not commented on the lawsuit yet.
Happening tomorrow, people who live in Madison's 1st District will vote in a special election. Law Office Manager Adrian Lampron is running against Legislative Assistant Colin Baruchak for a seat on the Dane County Board. Lampron's worked on local campaigns in Madison and serves as a union steward. Baruchak works for a Democratic state senator and serves as the vice chair of the Democratic Party of Dane County. At the center of the race, affordable housing. The former District 1 supervisor, Elizabeth Doyle, left the post in March because she couldn't afford rent. Both Lampron and Baruchak addressed the issue of housing in their only forum earlier this month. News 3 Now's Ellie LaLiberte was there and sat down with both candidates for a one-on-one. You can find everything you need to know about the candidates before you vote tomorrow at this story on channel3000.com.
Also tomorrow, the legislature's GOP-led budget writing committee will take up a list of items, and on that list, funding for the Department of Corrections and the University of Wisconsin system. The governor proposed millions of dollars to pay for updates within the Department of Corrections. He also proposed the largest biennial investment for the UW in state history. The committee scrapped those plans and will propose their own tomorrow. Lawmakers are up against a July 1st deadline to pass the budget or keep spending at current levels.
Next on Live at 4, fighting between Iran and Israel escalates.
What the president is saying about the conflict when Live at 4 continues.
Multiple agencies report crypto scams have skyrocketed in recent years due to crypto ATMs.
AARP Wisconsin says these crypto kiosks are popping up all over the state and causing a lot of problems for many Wisconsinites. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks joins us with what steps are being taken to protect consumers.
Cryptocurrency is an industry with little regulation, and an influx of Bitcoin ATMs or BTMs has forced state agencies to step in to better protect Wisconsinites. Crypto kiosks or ATMs are still relatively new, and for that reason, they have been largely unregulated. In a new report, the FBI says from 2023 to 2024, they saw a 99% increase in complaints filed about crypto scams, with a 31% increase in financial losses.
In terms of finding these people and making it right, it's incredibly difficult because cryptocurrency, you can be largely anonymous, so you don't know really who you're sending the money to, and they could use that wallet for one transaction and then just create a new wallet for their next one.
The State Department of Financial Institutions has provided new guidelines for crypto ATM operators. They now have to limit transactions to $2,000 a day per customer, post a warning in front of their crypto ATM, and maintain anti-fraud policies and procedures. Tonight at 5, I'll have more on how exactly the crypto scams are done. For now, reporting in the newsroom, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. You can find more information at aarp.org/Wisconsin.
After a weekend of protests against the Trump administration's immigration policy, the president is directing ICE to prioritize deportations in Democratic-led cities. The president made the declaration on his Truth Social account, calling on deportation officials to deliver what he's calling the single largest mass deportation program in history. The order comes as internal documents show a majority of immigrants booked into ICE custody are not the violent criminals the Trump administration said it would crack down on.
A majority of Americans say they are unhappy with the direction of the president's second term. An NBC News Decision Desk poll shows the president's disapproval rating is 55%, unchanged from April. Although Trump predictably has more overall support from Republicans compared to Democrats and independents, some members of the GOP admitted to objecting to some of the actions the president has taken since returning to the White House. And while 25% of Republicans say they are happy with Trump's actions, that is down 7 points from April.
The deadly conflict between Israel and Iran is in its 4th day.
Both sides are upping their attacks. Israel earlier today striking Iran's state television station when they were in the middle of a broadcast. Israel says it's destroyed a third of Iran's missile launchers. Meanwhile, Iran struck an Israeli oil refinery overnight and damaged part of that country's power grid. The fighting between the two countries resulting in at least the deaths of at least 24 Israelis and 224 Iranians. The matter is center stage this week at the G7 summit in Canada.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Israel has the United States' support, though the president remains wary of direct U.S. involvement. Meanwhile, Iran has ruled out negotiations with the U.S. while fighting continues and until Tehran is done retaliating.
The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments about whether states are allowed to subpoena faith-based pregnancy centers. First Choice Women's Resource Centers runs 5 crisis pregnancy centers in New Jersey. The nonprofit is fighting a subpoena from that state's Democratic Attorney General. The subpoena was part of an investigation into whether the group violated consumer fraud laws. Additionally, the Supreme Court threw out a decision by a New York court that had required religious groups to cover abortions in their health insurance coverage.
Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking trial will resume with a change to the jury. The judge dismissed one of the jurors, a 41-year-old man who works as a clerk at a correctional facility, due to his inconsistent answers about where he lives. During jury selection, the juror said he lives with his fiancée and baby in the Bronx. The juror will be replaced by one of the pre-selected alternates. This trial started last month. If convicted, Combs could spend life in prison.
To Wall Street now, the Dow is up 317 points. The Nasdaq is up 294. The S&P 500 is up 56.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Some beneficial rain this afternoon, but this was one of those days where you had to have an umbrella just in case. It was sunny and then rainy, and it switched pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case for a lot of the upcoming days. We're going to see almost a daily chance of some thunderstorms. And Wednesday alone, we're going to see the most rainfall, possibly around 1 to 3 inches on Wednesday alone. And as we get towards the weekend, it's going to be pretty hot. As highs could hit the lower 90s for the first time this year. Now, the heavy rain has prompted us to put out an alert day in the forecast for Wednesday. This is for all of southern Wisconsin. Could see some severe weather, but the severe weather risk is actually pretty low the next couple of days, but it will still be there tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So for tonight, marginal risk for Madison and areas to the west and northwest. Again, we're not expecting a lot of severe weather, but we could see some storms produce strong winds and minor hail. This is going to be the case for tomorrow as well. Marginal risk for just about everybody. And Wednesday, we have another marginal risk for Madison and areas to the south and east. slight risk in far southeastern Wisconsin, but the bigger hazard Wednesday will be just the amount of rainfall that is expected. So here's a look at the forecast for the evening and overnight hours. Just going to see a few isolated showers this evening, but as we get to the overnight hours, we'll see some storms move into our area from the northwest, dissipating a little bit as they get to our area. They are expected to be severe, kind of northwest towards La Crosse and Minneapolis, but once they get to southern Wisconsin, they're not expected to be as severe, but they're still going to produce some rain. Also could see some pockets of heavy rainfall. That will clear out by Tuesday morning, but then for Tuesday afternoon and evening, we're going to see more showers and thunderstorms move through our area. This time especially for areas south and southeast of Madison. And again, some of these could produce some strong winds and minor hail, but we're not too concerned about widespread severe weather. But as we get towards Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when we're going to see more consistent rain move into our area, and we're expecting widespread showers and thunderstorms for a good portion of the day on Wednesday. Looks like it actually might clear out by the evening, but we still could see some lingering showers and thunderstorms during the evening hours on Wednesday. However, even if we don't see rain during the evening, we're still going to see a lot of rain in total. So checking out the amount of precipitation that's expected with all these chances of rainfall. Some areas could see up to 3 inches of rain over the next couple of days, but everyone should see about an inch. And that's not the only chance of rainfall in the forecast, because we're going to see another small chance of rain Thursday, Friday, and next week as well. But take a look at those temperatures. By the weekend, we are going to see highs possibly get to near 90 degrees, and we also may dry up during that time. So we're going to see a lot of sunshine on top of that. So it will certainly feel like summer over the weekend. But until then, expect several chances of some showers and storms.
Thank you, Jacob. Coming up on Live at 4, a new hair salon for children may be a cut above the rest.
We'll show you what makes this new business so unique when Live at 4 returns.
In the 608, a new kids' hair salon is getting a lot of buzz in Madison and is the first of its kind for the area.
As Josh Breiter shows us, this salon is all about creating a fun-filled experience for everyone.
We are getting our inside look at Sit Still Kids Madison, and this is a unique experience that I think a lot of families are going to love. Megan Squires is joining us today. Megan, thanks for having us in.
Hey Josh, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Where did this idea come for you?
So for me, Sit Still is about bringing a service to Madison that we did not have here. I have 3 kids, and I was looking around and seeing where can I get my kids' haircut here, and there was no easy answer. I first heard about Sit Still Kids through a friend in Indianapolis, and I was like, why don't we have this here? This is something that everyone needs, because kids get their haircut, 4 to 6 times a year, and it's something you can't avoid. So having a salon that is really meant for kids, that offers an open environment that's welcoming and inclusive, where we know that every haircut might not go as you had planned, is something that's really important for families.
And you can tell your stylists, they meet these families where they're at. They're gonna make these kids feel comfortable in any way that they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Our stylists are amazing, and they are the true heart of what they do because they love kids. And they want to make sure that this is an easy experience, not just for the child, but for the whole family. And so we have different tools that we can offer. Like we can offer screen time if a parent is okay with that. Or we have fidget toys. We have trucks and cars that kids can hold on to and play with. If a kid needs some more sensory support, we offer weighted capes, quiet hours, extended appointment times. We really just want to make sure that this is something that works for each family where they're at.
So you've been open a couple of months now, and I understand you have had a heck of a start so far, like one of the more popular locations, I understand?
Absolutely. We have been blown away by the support the Madison community has offered us. We are so fortunate to have broken all kinds of records within our franchise, and it really just speaks to the fact that Madison needed this. And we're so happy to be here and to be open and to be continually welcoming new families when they come in through our doors.
And you know that as a parent, like this is a big deal and this is a stressful time for a lot of families.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing here is that we know, again, that this can be a new or somewhat scary experience for kids. And as a parent, that can stress you out. So having a place where you can come into that's going to be welcoming, where we're going to work with you and your child to find the best way to get the service done, And you might be able to have a coffee or actually sit down and read your book while you're here. That might work out for you.
Relaxing, it sounds nice.
Exactly, it might work out.
So if people are interested, how can they find you and whereabouts should they go?
Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram. Our handle is SitStillKidsMadison, or you can book online at madison.sitstillkids.com. We have a super flexible cancellation policy because, again, we know that things come up with kids. So we're easily able to rebook online, to reschedule, but we are located off Junction Road by Panera and Vino, and we just love meeting these families when they come in.
Well, Megan, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for having us in, and yeah, you can tell this is the place to be.
Great. Thanks, Josh.
You bet. In Madison, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. That little guy hanging on to his mama for dear life.
What a great business. Did that bring back any memories of your son?
Oh, he screamed his head off the first time he had his haircut. I don't know what is so scary about it. See, you didn't have to deal with that because your mother was a stylist.
Yeah, my mom owned a hair salon and it was in our house. So it was just like, staying at home. So I had not a care in the world.
Great. It's such a great idea. Coming up on Live at 4, Jacob will track when we could see storms this week.
Plus, how Wisconsin lawmakers are reacting to the shooting of Minnesota legislators this weekend.
You're watching News 3 Now, Live at 4.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us on Live at 4 on this Monday afternoon.
Yeah, we've had some rain and that humidity is out there.
I can feel it.
You know something's going on. Well, our weather words today are tracking storm chances. I bet. Well, Jacob Montesano is here with what he is looking at in our first warn forecast. Jacob?
Yeah, right now we're still seeing a few thunderstorms out there, and this is going to be the story going forward. We're going to have almost daily chances of thunderstorms, although most days it's not going to rain all day. Now, looking at the current radar, we are seeing some of that rain continue to push closer to Madison, impacting a lot of Dane County, especially the western half of Dane County. And overall today, the most rain has been for areas west and southwest of Madison. You can see that firsthand. Also seeing some of those thunderstorms right now further south in Lafayette County. And we could continue to see some of these pop-up storms over the next couple of hours, but we're going to see a little bit more consistent rain once we get to the overnight hours. We'll see some storms move into our area from the northwest. Could produce some severe weather further northwest near La Crosse and even further northwest towards Minneapolis, but they're going to dissipate a little bit as they push into southern Wisconsin. Still likely going to produce some rain for some areas, but the severe weather risk is relatively low, and we may see some additional isolated showers later in the night, but it looks like kind of that 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. time frame will be the best chance of rain tonight, and it's going to remain very mild as well. Right now we're seeing temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s, and the overnight lows are only going to drop into the middle and upper 60s. So it's going to be a pretty mild morning on Tuesday. Should start out dry, but we have more storm chances for tomorrow. And then especially on Wednesday, where we have an alert day in the forecast due to heavy rain and a few strong storms. But again, the severe weather risk not too great, which is some good news, but the chance of rain is pretty high for Wednesday. I'll talk more in detail about that and the forecast for the very summer-like weekend upcoming. All those details a bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. The 57-year-old suspected shooter of Minnesota lawmakers will remain in custody until his next hearing on June 27th. Vance Belter is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder. He allegedly shot and killed Minnesota Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband. In addition to attacking Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Belter reportedly had a hit list of lawmakers, including U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and Congressman Mark Pocan.
That list reportedly included some politicians inside the state capitol as well.
Political reporter Will Keneally is here and has more on how lawmakers are grappling with the shooting.
We know of at least 11 Wisconsin lawmakers who appeared on that list from the suspected Minnesota shooter. Now, we're not going to report the names of anybody appearing on that list. We've been asked by people inside the building to not do so for security reasons. But people in here are on edge. We sat down with State Senator Kelda Roys of Madison about that political violence and the possibility that some of her colleagues were targeted.
You know, I think this has rattled all of us, and I don't just mean Democrats, even though obviously Democrats were targeted in this attack. I think it's very jarring because you always know in the back of your head, yeah, this could be a risk, and that's why, you know, I take precautions. But something like this, I think, really shows just how vulnerable we are.
Officials inside the Capitol here are stepping up security in the wake of all of this. The State Assembly, it's that chamber over my shoulder here, they will be on the floor on Wednesday to vote on some bills. And we do know from the Speaker's office that they're increasing security for that event. And we have heard from the State Senate that they are upping security as well. Reporting from the State Capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will. The State Capitol building and Capitol grounds are protected by State Capitol Police. They tell us in a brief statement that they do not comment on active security measures and protocols.
Today marks 6 months since the tragedy at Abundant Life Christian School, where a student brought 2 guns inside, killing 2 and injuring 6 others.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski is following up with community leaders about the way the community came together to heal.
The road to recovery can be long in situations just like this, but in an act that showed this community was resilient, many came together just hours after to begin the healing process. From Black Hawk Church in Middleton to the steps of the state capitol, as well as Casa de Fe in Monona, hundreds gathered for vigils throughout the Madison metro to show their support for the victims and families. Senior Pastor Pedro Ruiz sharing that 6 months later, the way the community came together to heal at Casa de Fe was a touching moment and one that helped people at a time of great need.
I think it was something that it was needed for people, that spiritual part of it, that, not knowing, all the whys that we have in our minds and focusing on, start focusing on healing inside. And I think throughout this time, that's exactly what has happened.
Beyond just the spiritual healing, there was also a wave of financial support with an emergency and recovery fund established, surpassing more than $600,000 going directly to ALCS. In Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. Fighting between Israel and Iran is escalating. In a 4th day of attacks, Israel hit Iran's state television station in the middle of a broadcast. Both sides are seeing casualties, with 24 Israelis and 224 Iranians reported dead. Right now, Tehran's residents are trying to flee the capital city in search of safety. The White House and Israel expect the fighting to go on for weeks.
Coming up on Live at 4, Will Loper shows us whether the movie topping the box office this weekend is worth seeing.
We'll have his review of the live action How to Train Your Dragon when Live at 4 continues.
Another live action remake topped the charts at the box office this weekend.
It's the remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Is it as good as the original? Here's film critic Will Loper.
Hey, Susan and Brady. The live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon flew at the box office this past weekend, making a fantastic $83 million. But does this new version have teeth?
We're all descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings ever traveled.
We were first introduced to the world of Berk, Hiccup, and the cute black dragon known as Toothless in the 2010 animated film How to Train Your Dragon. 2 sequels followed in 2014 and 2019 until DreamWorks took a page out of Disney's book to remake it in live action.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
The movie follows a Viking village besieged by dragons, and the young Viking boy Hiccup, who befriends a dragon and tries to convince his town not to fight them.
Maybe they're not as bad as we think they are.
In case you forgot, our parents' war is about to become ours. Figure out which side you're on.
It's a beat-for-beat remake, at times using the same lines, music, and shots.
I don't have any more. I don't have any more.
So was this remake completely necessary? Probably not. Did it still work on me? Absolutely. The flying sequences are spectacular, the emotions pack a punch, and the themes of understanding rather than fearing are still resonant 15 years later. How to Train Your Dragon is absolutely worth seeing for kids and adults alike.
Stick with me.
For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
That looks like a fun one to see.
Yeah, the cartoon version's pretty cute, so maybe I'll check this one out.
Great. Up next, we sit down with a local author to talk about his new book.
Where you can buy global entries when we're back. You really can gain a lot from packing your bags and visiting places that you've never been to. The world is full of fascinating stories.
It sure is, and a local man is sharing some of his favorites in a book. Global Entries, Anecdotes from My Travels Abroad, was written by Belleville native Joe Fahey. And earlier, Brady and I spoke to Joe about what inspires him about travel. It's a wonderful thing that you've done, but this is not a how-to travel guide. Tell us a little bit about how you wrote the book.
Absolutely not. In fact, I start the book, if you're looking for a travel guide, you've come to the wrong place.
It's not a Michelin guide.
No, it is not a Michelin guide. So I don't tell you where to go or what hotel to stay at. These are anecdotal stories about what I have experienced over the course of 5 decades. And so, yes, I talk about places and I give historical content and I talk about cultural experiences, but a lot of them, in a lot of cases, I go to travel the back roads, go to places that are not very well known, and so there are places here that you're not going to see in the Michelin guide, and so it's very personal. But it's also written in a very lighthearted manner because not everything goes as planned.
Right. Yeah, oh, I bet. Well, do you have an experience like that you can quick share with us? Something unexpected or something fun that really livened up your soul?
Well, you know, there are like categories, like taxis. I never got along with taxis. So, I mean, I had road rage in France and kind of overcharged in Italy. So that's a situation. And then food. Food is always an important thing. And sometimes I'd be a little bit surprised by, like, when I was served, like Brahma hump, which is really quite good.
What is that?
The hump of a Brahma bull.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was larvae of ants.
Protein, good protein.
Looks like rice, but it's not.
Yeah. But you're letting people learn from your experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you can learn from my mistakes or from my experiences. So it's a combination of humor and history and culture, and it's a light read. It's intended to be a fun read.
And a little bit of advice. You have 5 rules, you say, that you would like Americans to understand when they travel overseas. What are they?
Okay, so when I started traveling, I saw a lot of bad tourists, and I didn't want to be that guy. So I kind of came up with 5 rules for myself for traveling. And one is, do what you're told. You know, this is not the time to go lone wolf. The second one is, be aware. Be aware of what's going on around you. You might miss something, something historical, something cultural, but also from a safety perspective. Just be aware. The next one is to, be respectful of the people around you. People want to be respected, and you need to give that respect in order to get it back. And remember, we are guests, and so don't forget that. The fourth one is the most important, but it's so simple. Just eat what's in front of you. Food is a huge part of culture.
Yeah.
And in many cultures, they take it very seriously. And if you turn your nose up, that doesn't play very well. Americans can't have cheeseburgers and chocolate chip cookies at every meal. So eat what's in front of you. And the last one is simply compliment the chef. It doesn't hurt to grease the skids.
Yeah.
And after I wrote those for the book, it dawned on me. These are the same rules that I used when I visited my mother. So they're pretty simple and they're very easy to follow.
Yeah. And you are going to want to grab this book. You can find Joe's book at local bookstores or online at faheytravels.com. And our special thanks to Joe.
He's so inspiring. He was a corporate executive for 40 years, and he reinvented himself after he retired.
Yeah. He's having a good time doing it, too.
He absolutely is. Let's get a check on the weather now. Jacob is here, keeping an eye on the radar. Is there more rain out there, Jacob?
Yeah, we continue to see those showers and a few thunderstorms, and that's going to be the story for the next couple of days. We're going to see almost daily chances of thunderstorms, with Wednesday being the day that we're going to see the most rainfall. And as far as temperatures, they're going to be pretty warm the next couple of days, but they're especially going to be warm by the time we get to the weekend. Could see our first 90-degree day. So we have an alert day in the forecast for Wednesday, as we are expecting heavy rain and a few strong storms. Now, the severe weather risk the next couple of days is minor, but it still will kind of be there, not just for Wednesday, but also tonight and Tuesday as well. So looking at the severe weather outlook for tonight, marginal risk for Madison and areas to the west and north. Further northwest, though, there is a better chance of severe weather closer to La Crosse. And then for Tuesday, another marginal risk for a lot of the area, and there's another marginal risk for Wednesday as well. Slight risk in the southeastern portion of the state for Wednesday. And in all three cases, the most likely hazard will be strong winds and maybe some minor hail. So looking at the forecast for the overnight hours and for the next couple of days, we'll see those showers and storms move into our area from the northwest, dissipating a little bit as they move into our area, but still bringing that rainfall. Just not expected to bring as much severe weather as it will when it is off to the northwest of us. And then for Tuesday, we could see some isolated showers and maybe a few pop-up storms early, but more consistent showers and thunderstorms will move into our area in the late afternoon and evening, especially for Madison and areas to the south for Tuesday. And then as we get towards Tuesday night and Wednesday, we're going to see that more consistent rain move in. And overall, we could see these showers and thunderstorms continue for most of the day on Wednesday, bringing in plenty of rainfall, especially around Madison and areas just to the south of that. So in general, we have several chances of thunderstorms, and even after this clears out Wednesday, we are going to continue to see this chance of storms for the end of the week and into next week. So total rainfall, again, this is obviously subject to change depending on where some of these heavier thunderstorms do form, but all of the area could see around 1 to 2 inches, if not more, over the next couple of days, which is definitely some rain that we need. Now, looking at the temperature forecast, we'll be in the 80s to upper 70s for the rest of the week until we get to the weekend, where we are going to see those high temperatures possibly near 90. It does look to cool off for the middle of next week as the chance of storms returns to our area.
Well, you know you're in Wisconsin when there's a quick trip on almost every corner.
I love when they're across the street from each other. Well, today we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the business. Governor Tony Evers is declaring today Quick Trip Day. Founded on June 16th, 1965 in Eau Claire, Quick Trip is a family-owned business that has grown into one of the nation's largest privately owned convenience retail chains. Today, Quick Trip is headquartered in La Crosse with a new distribution center to open in DeForest later this year. So if you need an excuse to grab some of Quick Trip's famous Dunker Donuts or chicken tenders, it's Quick Trip's birthday. Go ahead and celebrate.
And happy 60th birthday, Quick Trip. That's pretty cool. Make sure you grab an umbrella if you're running out to Quick Trip. I went to the grocery store today. It was sunny when I went in, and it was a gully washer when I came out.
And that's going to be kind of the story the next couple of days, with the exception of Wednesday, where we are going to see consistent rain, just on and off showers and storms just about every day this week, especially during those afternoon hours. That's the best chance of rain. And then the weekend, very summer-like.
All right. Thanks, Jacob. We'll be right back. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff will stop by. We'll talk about the effect of a lack of sleep and what it has on your teens' brains. Sleep is very important. And coming up next at 5, how the latest crypto scam is impacting seniors. That's straight ahead. Thanks for watching Live at 4, everybody, on this Monday. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.